Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for some more Cosmonarchy, and I hope your morning is going well. Or if it's not your morning, whatever. I hope your day went well. You weird person who lives in Australia. It's time for some Cosmonarchy. It's time to take a look at Hippity Hoppity versus Goosey. That's right. Goosey's playing Protoss now, so I regret to inform y'all who thought he was going to be the new Terran representation. I guess he likes to play all around. He's played a Skozy. I think he's played some ZERG. So that would mean that he's played all 4 races to some degree in ranked. I'm pretty sure if you try to search up his aliases, he's got a few. Good to see him getting his money's worth, so to speak. He didn't pay any money, but he's getting his time's worth of really practicing out and checking out all the different races that we have at our disposal. We're on Monolith, which is a map made by the Shambler. And I'm excited to see what this one is going to bring us. It's a game between these two. There are a few matches that they played. I'd like to actually cast a full set, but we only have time for one match right now as I'm recording this before I have to head into some shift work. If you want to help me so that I don't have to do shift work anymore, you can donate to the project's development, ko-fi.com/pronogo. Oh, wait, no, it's Cosmonarchy. Streamlabs.com/Pronogo if you want to donate directly to me, or right now all that money is being put over to the Acropolis prize pool, put us up over the $1,000 mark. So appreciate all you who donate to that and provide that, and looking forward to seeing what we got in this particular game. Obviously it's a non-standard map by a non-standard mapper, and Hippity Hoppity and Goosey are definitely non-standard players just because they're new. But Hippity was showing pretty good games. He took a game off of grass earlier on the channel. His game against Godwheat that we just casted yesterday, if you want to check that out. I won't spoil the result. It was some good play, though, from Hippity, and I appreciate the fact that he's already learning so much about the game and so much about how ZERG is played in particular. Legionnaire start here for our Protoss, who's... I like his alias, One Day I Will Be Champ. I could believe that. In fact, in one of the games that he did play as Terran, it was... I was going to pop it open for cast at one point, but it ended up only being like 5 minutes long, so not really that relevant unless it ends up being part of a set or something. And not a winner in that respect. Good surround from Hippity. The thing that I kept thinking about there is like, who's this guy named One Day I Will Be Champ? And he had like 350 APM in a 5-minute game as Terran and just annihilated the opposition. And so I was like, oh shit, he's learning. And so I guess for his ego I should cast that game, but let's be real. You guys are here for the cool ones, the epic matches. And so Goosey's learning is all I'm saying. So maybe he might end up having the higher class level. But yeah, that's another thing I wanted to mention about this game is that this is a match where based on this game, based on some of those matches that I'm going to be casting where it's Hippity versus Goosey, our latest fixation on the channel, just to check out the new guys and give them a warm welcome, is we're talking about a pair of dudes who don't have a class on the server yet, right? Like on our Discord server, we don't actually have a rank for them just yet, and we would like to give them a rank. So let's join hands and do that. We got the Maroon Protoss in the top right, and it's the Magma ZERG in the bottom right. The color guesses are still intact there. Just had to do it 3.5 minutes in, a classic move. And it looks like Legionnaire Ecclesiast with 1 Dracoden. The Forward Warden is an interesting choice. It kind of points towards a turtley build, but this is a wide ramp, far natural. So this kind of structure does demand different play. ZERG has a little bit of map control right now with the Vorv opener, and then had to go for the expansion following it. And extra gateway and another pylon for more build area. I already like the way that Goosey is playing, because I like my pylons. If you guys watch the channel where I cast Protoss games enough, definitely a pylon man. Zeth burrowed at under the tree. Yes, under the tree. Now, I am just now noticing, actually, that these ramps are a little bit tile bugged. There's a terrain block there. There's no gameplay problem with it. It's just aesthetics. I'm an aesthetics man, okay? I'm an aesthetical man. The Larvosk number 2 on the way for Hippity. He's already got his hatch down, so his late second Larvosk isn't too bad. But he has been a little larva constrained, and he's floating a lot of money as a result of that, I think. I've noticed that his APM is not nearly as high as Goosey. Look, 400 APM for a moment there. I don't know what the hell he's pushing. I don't know what keys he's bumping, but if he's going to keep that kind of speed, then he really just needs to train the unit decisions, the tactics, the understanding of what units actually are there. And I guess he's watching a lot of Cosmonarchy and playing a lot as well. So already got his Acantor. Zealot Ecclesiast now being switched into after the initial set of Legionnaires. I mean, compositionally, this does look pretty scary. We'll see what Hippity can do in response, because with the Arden out, it really only takes an embassy and a couple positrons, and suddenly you can start threatening, sharing the right-hand side of the map, as is the map's design. This is a 2-spawn. We did see the Zets move all the way to the top left for a moment, but That's not a main. That would be a really demented main. The temple, I'm actually not sure what its purpose is. I guess it's probably just there mostly for aesthetics, but you do technically get a power field from the temple. And so if you were a Protoss and you wanted to do that, you could do that. Nexus now at the top left, well, top right, but it's the natural. Top left compared to the main. ZERG are going to be moving across, but we've got multiple Acantors at the ready. A second one just warped in now. So this feels like it's going to be pretty hard for Hippity to move forward with. We'll see based on his engagement. The one Legionnaire sizing up the army, radioing back, and then dying. Although he gets teleported back here, right? So he can go into a Strider later. Or in the Legionnaire's case, it's an Aurora. He becomes an Aurora pilot. In case you guys didn't know that about the lore. Cantor is salvoing down initially. Some good connections, kills a couple of Vorvs. I think when you scout that out, you either need like a lot of Lakes and just to overwhelm the Cantor count, but you know there's two, and you know there's probably going to be more coming. There's something about the fact that he's seeing more than one. One Acantor is very different than two Acantors, because two Acantors means your opponent is willing to make multiple Acantors. If you only hit him and you see one, and then you scout again and you see one, okay, that's probably not that big of a deal, actually. I can handle that, and he's going to go into like Positrons or something. I got to watch for some kind of other, you know, drop defense or something like that, right? Acantor, you want prevention. Positrons, you want committal into defenses that just kind of force a commitment from them. The Acantors, depending on the skill level of the opponent, you can just drop them in the mineral line and they immediately start shooting and killing a bunch of workers. The Positrons don't have a lot of time before they start killing workers, but there is some time that you have. Also, the scribe is revealing the Zeth there, but there's no defenses yet to shoot it, so nobody's actually taken notice. It's going to be Zoryus Lakes coming out for Hippity, and his opponent, Goosey, is going for Grand Library as a little bit of a tech pivot. He's a side grade. It's also a tier 2 structure, just like the Ardent. So, compositionally, another Legionnaire goes live. I'm kind of surprised we don't have an embassy. I think this is kind of a hole in the gameplay. You want witnesses, not just for the Lakes, which we know are coming, but in general, it's a kind of a spooky situation for him to be in. He's got a great choke point here, so this could make this position really hard to assail. But think about it from Hippity's perspective. He's got all these quads. He's shown Lyrilisk, which is the apex tier pool. And sometimes when you are in this position, as that finally gets cleared, where you go a fast Calcure, typically you don't also go Shroud. It's a very expensive structure to go. So showing Lyrilisk and in a reasonable commitment is actually really scary here, because Hippity, he might be seen as not having any other tech, but he's all on 2-base, right? His opponent might just assume, oh, this has been 3-base committal now. He's just building some pool units or whatever, and I can mass up. But there's a pretty nasty slobber knocker, or not slobber knocker. I'm thinking about like an uppercut, but there's like a haymaker. That's what I was thinking. There's a haymaker coming. Hippity wants to just use all of the Lake as a muscle forward. He'll take a third. Legionnaire scouting the far end of the map just to see what's up. Cantavis on the way for Storm, taken after Aud, it looks like. I believe this game was just played yesterday as of the day of recording, so that's the 5th of July when this match was played. Definitely a far cry from the performances that we've seen historically already. At the very least for Goosey, he was struggling a little bit with Terran. Then he already looked very, very good in that one game that I already saw, where he had like a ridiculous amount of APM. He's down to 200 now, maybe slowing down as he has to have the mental tax of everything that he's got to deal with. And he scouts the Lakes. Okay, so immediately needs to see an embassy be put down. A lot of money floated for both players right now, but particularly for the Protoss, who is going to need to catch back up in workers as well. 6 o'clock on the way as a 3rd base for Hippity. Ulgorg. And some Sprates get started over here inside the main base. Okay. That's pretty good, actually. I mean, he knows that his opponent is going to go embassy, or he should expect embassy. Instead, Hippity's just... he's going to be up against a player not going for anything like the detection that he should be. I guess on the flip side, right, like if you're not spending money on Embassy Witness, you got more Vespine in particular, you can make Cantavis, you can make, Pariah, you can make Mind Tyrant, you can do the stuff like that. The Embassy's now coming down. It feels so late, though. That's the kind of my problem with it. And still, he's got some cool ideas. We'll see what he wants to do with stuff like that. Oh, one of the things that I'm seeing also with the Atreus coming out, it reminded me, I had a really epic idea, epic Cosmonarchy balance shower thought. Was yesterday I was thinking about how I'm definitely going to be showing some cool Atreus redesigns here. I'll talk about it in a donor log today, but if you want to get access to that kind of thing, you just need to donate $3 or more on our coffee. and get access to all my inner thoughts. It's just the way it goes. One worker goes down, a couple larvae die as well, but Hippity not really in that big of a threat. He did abandon his entire position almost, with the exception of those 13 Lakers off to the side. His whole army responded to 1 Legionnaire. So I think we're seeing some interesting tactics, shall we say. Spire comes down after the Iris finishes, so Tier 2 for ZERG is indeed in effect. No third base just yet for our Protoss. He's abandoned his choke point almost entirely. And it's going to be a synthetic Synod. Tier 4 on the way for our Protoss player. Hippity's kind of showing a similar play to what he did against Godwheat in a way. I mean, he's got the Shroud, so in that way it's obviously factually different, and he's not playing against a Scozy. But I'm noticing his opponent scale up the tech tree and build up a pretty formidable army. And Hippity is kind of being a bit passive, right? We're entering into podcast territory for a little bit here as the things continue to build up, and I guess this map does kind of lend itself to 2-base containment. But he's broken out with a Nexus that should be on the way at 12 o'clock here pretty soon. The Mind Tyrant should bond with one of the Acantors, or something else that can deal a good amount of splash damage. At least that's the conventional wisdom. The embassy was made. Do we have a witness? I don't see one anywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and guess not. Zorius sees that the 12 o'clock is, in theory, underway. And so he's got all the units here. What does he want to do with them? That's the question. He's going to be wrapping around to see if he can attack in from the north, it looks like. This little choke point here is very, I guess this map is designed to be very cinematic, and it's 3 attack paths into the 12 o'clock. It's kind of wild. Should definitely be favored for the ZERG to engage properly. And he can set up the Lakers here to kind of not just besiege the base, but also get to a point where it's intercepting with the reinforcement. So the third is really far, just like the natural is really far. A lower eco map for sure, and we've got lots of some Zorius and other frontliners. A great storm onto some of the Lakers there, but man, there's so much ZERG. One of the Acantors has gone down. The Nexus is going to absorb a lot of the pressure here as Lakers continue to push up. So much money on both sides. They're focusing all of their attention on the fight, you can tell. And those spines are going to continue providing so much value for the ZERG. But the Acantors are falling back. We still don't have any real detection here. The Zealots obviously trying to reveal what Lakers they can, but now they're gone. And it's all just the Lakers that's left, but it's still enough to do a lot of damage. Protathalors have been made, actually just in time to help clear that Pariah as well. A very good idea. Unfortunately, though, these Protathalors, they come without any front line, and he is going to need to evacuate from this position. If he had right-clicked the Nexus, I would have felt a little bit better about this, but the Lakers look like they'll finish it up anyway. Down it goes. No third base for you. The Tyrant does arrive. No Malefactor to be seen. And then, indeed, there was a witness with the army, so there's a couple Lakers borrowed behind the... Oh, if he doesn't clear that, he's going to be in a bit of a rough position, it looks like. Zobrialisks on the way. Dude, I haven't seen Zobrialisks in so long, but they are pretty good at dealing with some of these units. Malefactor witness, you know what I mean? So that he can come up here and move faster. He's speed upgraded his witness, boys. He got observer speed in Cosmonic. Man, I don't think a lot of people know about the Malefactor, mechanic. So, yeah, okay, he's gonna bind it to the Acantor. That's good. The wounded one as well. I guess he's gonna try to keep it alive. I'm of 2 minds about that, but that's that. Okay, so that was just that was incredible. That was really funny. Synthetic Synods have been done, or at least the first one has been done, but have we gotten any units out of them? It doesn't look like it. I think maybe with 2,000 minerals here, clearly having some trouble with the gas. He has not capped his ridges or his geysers. Protoss are in a unique position in that respect. And yeah, I mean, the Zobrialisks are going to have a lot of power here to right-click individual targets. The Acantor is so far away from the fight, but what has Hippity been up to as far as his military production? It seems like it's mostly Zobrialisks. And there's not that many Lakers for crowd control. He hasn't dealt with the Mind Tyrant, even though it's been a juicy target this whole time. The Protathalors might help out a little bit with that. He's got 4 Lakers, 13 pairs of claws being made. Wait, Hippity, where's your army, dude? What happened? Was that his army, I guess? The Mind Tyrant might go down? It does. An important tactic there, but the Herald is turning every casualty into a speed boost for the Protoss army. And now the Lakers are going to try to burrow a more defensive posture. Zobrialisks can still make magic happen here, but obviously they are going to be struggling with the Mass Zealot here as a front line for Goosey's army. He's adding he's not adding any more production, which is a little bit odd. And I love the Muta switch at this point. 20 Mutas being made, that's 10 pairs. But there's not any anti-air here, right? There's no positrons. There's one Dracodon that'll likely go down before anything happens here. As long as the workers don't get too heavily massacred, I think Hippity will be in a totally fine position. Some more units coming down, but it's all anti-surface. Not a single unit that can shoot up in this whole composition besides the Drac. Kind of wild. As the Mutas flock forward, they're going to go ahead and absolutely make mincemeat out of those Acantors. What can you even do in response to that? No Cantavis for Hallucinate or Storm. And he's just going to commit with all the ground units that he's got, but the Mutas have already eaten up all the little robotic worms, the metal slugs. A Scribe is with them. Battle Worker! Yeah, he goes down. Well, Mutas are, they're definitely a more swarming option. Still some chaos over here as the workers continue to get flummoxed, and one Acantor was left over here to besiege the hatch. If that goes down, that could actually be really bad for Hippity. A scenic fight as the Mutas now fly across the map. Behind it, we've got a Cantavis being made, a Pariah, and a Demiurge. That could turn very, very badly for our Zerg player. 20 Mutas. They're not on an attack move. He's now going to try to cycle away from that and see if he can go right for the eco. This is a mostly depleted mineral line, though, so is it really that worth it? The Warden will go down relatively quickly. But he still hasn't cleaned out his natural. He's got a lake is up here and no other units. He's making more Mutas, trying his best to fight with that. The Pariah can do so much splash damage if it's allowed to, but instead it falters. It falls away. So the Mutas do make an escape. More hatching back at home. He can wipe this position out. He's got Zets coming as well to try to clear that. He needs more workers for sure. And that's all he's purchasing now that the Mutas are out. All right. That's a wrap on the Protoss units attacking. It looks like the Acantors were cleared by some Zeths. And I love the Amaranth rally forward. He's pushing them off to the bottom left to make sure that there's no other bases. But he can also come in here and finish off this hatch. The Circuit be damned. 12 o'clock is going to fall, though. Now we're getting into kind of a bloody game, right? A back and forth messy one. 43 Mutas, dude. Holy moly. All right, the Pariah can do a lot of splash. Can you respect it enough? The Scribes have all been wiped out. He's going to just try to stand and fight it. It will end up going down. Only some bruised Mutas in the process. Damn. This looks like a Zerg victory is teed up. Unless he remembers, Goosey draws upon his knowledge and realizes what he needs is splash damage. I'm sure he figures that out. But he has no engrams coming. He can definitely afford some. Not mining with two guys on the ridge either, and not mining any gas over here. Yeah, finally he's like, oh yeah, I can cap my ridges. Losing out on 12 o'clock really hurts the gas income, that's for sure. Amaranths are going to come in and see if they can target down this hatch, as of course Goosey has figured some details out. Okay, we are going out of Spire Tech. Pretty legit. He's going to clear the circuit here. I would just kill the hatch, honestly. He's going after workers now. I mean, the sustain here should be pretty good, but I really think he needed to go for the hatch. You kill that hatch, it's got no health at all. What are you really going to do? Tozgralisks! Okay. All right. The Haunt is done, and we got the Tozgralisks up. A lot of Zorius being made as well, so that's going to be pretty hard to fight directly. 2 Demiurges. I mean, he could go for Positrons here as well. That's another thing he can do. He's got the Cantavis, and he could go for Positrons. The Muta stack is still pretty big. Yeah, goodbye, Cantavis. It was nice knowing you. Oh, man. This does feel like he just doesn't have the Protoss knowledge here, right? Mutas are not nearly as much of a threat to, Terra in when he already knows about Valkyries and Cyprians and Savants. But versus Protoss, if you don't know about your engrams, your Positrons, and of course, your inimitable Storm, that actually does help versus stuff like this. That can be a really big deal. And there's no GG from that one, although I think they were in voice chat for this. Hippity has found the victory. All right, well, overall, I gotta say, that was a pretty interesting match, a 1v1 that went the distance between our two new guys. It's hard for me to judge Goosey comparatively because of the fact that he has played a bunch of different races. But I will say, he's got APM, he's got speed, he's got the mechanics down, I think. He's learning things about how the units work. And, you know, he seems fairly competent overall. And Hippity is obviously in kind of a similar boat where they're trading blows against each other all the time. So I'm digging that. I'm liking the look of that. Let's say that they're both class 3 for now, and there's class 2 potential if they start posting some tournament games when we get back into the weekend wages. I'll see you guys for another cast tomorrow. GG.